Hey scholars, here's another probability question. So during an experiment, 3 coins were tossed once. Give the sample space to show all possible outcomes for tossing 3 coins one time using the letter H when a coin faces heads up and letter T when it faces tails up. Part B, based on your answer to part A, how many outcomes consist of 3 heads or 3 tails? In Part C, during a math class, each of 24 students tossed 3 coins at once. Based on your answer to Part B, how many students would you expect to get a result of 3 heads or 3 tails? So just want to make a disclaimer. This does not in any way mean that New York State is endorsing gambling. This is just a probability question that they're giving, for you to understand probability. So let's just figure out the outcomes here. So we have 3 coins. So, either coin could be heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails. So let's see. Maybe I'll just draw the coins like this, right? Could be heads or tails. Second coin could be heads or tails. Whoops. Tails. And third coin could be heads or tails. Um, so let's see, what would be the easiest way to map this? I guess, maybe the easiest thing would be to do like a tree diagram. So let's say, first time you get heads, and the second coin could either be heads or could also be tails. Okay, and after you get that, the second coin after there could also either be heads or tails, and this one could be heads or tails. All right, so basically this is saying, all right, you flip the first time, you get a heads, and then your next coin could be heads, right? And if you get heads the second time, your next coin, or your second coin could be heads or tails. If it was heads, your third coin could be heads or tails. If the second coin was tails, your third coin could be heads or tails. And then let's do a tree diagram for if you got tails on your first coin. So tails on the first coin, second coin could either be heads or tails, right? And if you got heads first, or sorry, if you got tails first, then heads, your third coin here could either be heads or tails. And if you got tails and then tails on second, your third coin could also be heads or tails. So basically, let's just follow the tree, right? So you could get heads, 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 right? So heads, comma, heads, or heads, heads, tails. Okay, heads, heads, tails. Go down this branch, could be heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, heads. Could be heads, tails, tails, heads, tails, tails. Okay, and that's all these 4 outcomes. And now we come over here, and you could be tails on the first, tails, heads, heads. Okay, tails, heads, tails. Could be tails, tails, heads. Or it could be tails, tails, tails. Tails, tails, tails. Okay, so basically we have 8 different possible outcomes. So for part B, right, I guess you could label this, A here. Just say this is A. This is our sample space. And then for B, it says, okay, based on your answer, how many outcomes consist of 3 heads or 3 tails? All right, so basically, could be heads, heads, heads here, or it could be tails, tails, tails. So there's only, basically two are the outcomes. And then part C, probably a good idea to label our answer here. There's A, there's B. C, each of 24 students tossed 3 coins at once. Based on your answer, how many students would you expect to get a result of 3 heads or 3 tails? So basically, let's see, there's 8 possible outcomes, right? So there's 2, desired outcomes of all heads or all tails. So that's 2 ways. That's like, a quarter of the time, you flip, you're going to get 3 heads or 3 tails. That's sort of our predicted outcome. So if 24 students, do this all at once, we could figure, okay, a quarter of them is like a quarter chance, and you do it 24 times. Basically, we'd expect, a quarter of them to get all heads or all tails. So just do 24 times a quarter, and this is just 24, same as 24 divided by 4, and basically you would expect it to be 6. Okay, so there's our part C.